Gaza, a place filled with stories of endurance, resilience, and the undying spirit of its people. Imagine living in a place where the population density reaches over 7,000 inhabitants per square kilometer. In Gaza, that's not just a number, it's a daily reality. Families in Gaza are crammed into tiny apartments, and their daily lives are marked by overcrowded streets. Gaza Strip has been subjected to continuous bombing, destruction, and massacres committed by the Israeli military force during the decades. Not to mention the deprivation of food, water, electricity, and medical supplies due to a forced blockade that was implemented by the Israelis. But first, let's go back in time and see how such a small piece of land got so overpopulated and from where came all its inhabitants. Just like any other Palestinian village, Gaza was populated by a small community, and its area was relatively small as shown in these historical maps from 1823 and 1848. But things have radically changed since the adoption of Resolution 181 by the UN General Assembly recommending the partition plan of Palestine. During the Nakba, more than 530 Palestinian villages underwent a tragic process of depopulation, often accompanied by the brutal killing of civilians. Palestinians were either compelled to flee due to the hostilities or faced atrocities and violent acts against their communities, resulting in a mass exodus. This displacement created a substantial Palestinian refugee population of more than 700,000. Most of the refugees that were driven to the Gaza Strip were coming from 247 depopulated villages including cities like Jaffa and Beersheba. More than 120,000 refugees were crammed into this small portion of closed territory, reaching 2,300,000 people by 2023. Tragedies continued to mark Gaza's history. On the night of August 28, 1953, bombs were thrown in the Al-Baraj camp while refugees were sleeping. As they fled, they faced attacks by small arms and automatic weapons. Another horrifying event, the Khan Yunis massacre, took place on November 3, 1956, resulting in the death of 275 Palestinians. In June 1967, Israel initiated the Six-Day War, occupying the Gaza Strip along with the West Bank and other territories. The suffering persisted, and in July-August 1971, the Israeli occupying authorities demolished shelters and Rafah camps, affecting thousands of refugee families. In 2005, Israel imposed a blockade on Gaza. It controls everything entering or leaving Gaza, including people, goods, and humanitarian aid. The year 2008 marked a devastating period with the Gaza war. Airstrikes, a ground invasion, and rocket attacks led to the death of over 1,400 Palestinians and the destruction of hundreds of homes. In May 2010, the Gaza flotilla raid shocked the world. A military operation by Israel against 6 civilian ships of the Gaza Freedom Flotilla that were carrying humanitarian aid and construction materials resulted in the loss of 9 activists' lives and left dozens wounded. In the last decade, Gaza has experienced many brutal Israeli attacks, and each has left a profound impact on civilians and on the infrastructure. Thousands of Palestinians have been killed in the process, mostly women and kids. On the 7th of October, Hamas breached Israel's fortified border, and its militants infiltrated the occupied territory. In response to this, Israel declared war, imposed a siege on Gaza, and conducted continuous and brutal air attacks, resulting in the mass killing of civilians. Amid this, Gaza residents are facing a grave humanitarian crisis, and a process of ethnic cleansing is taking place. After 1 month of heavy bombardment, the death toll has exceeded 10,000 people. As the world observes the unrelenting massacres and war crimes perpetrated by Israel in Gaza, a pressing concern lingers. How many more Palestinian lives must be lost before the world takes decisive action and awakens to the gravity of the situation? But, as always, justice must prevail.